You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Okay. Good evening. Greetings, everyone that is watching us. Yesterday, we say today we're going to be having reparations. It's going to be talking about reparations and justice for Africa. And actually, she really wants to Agenda 25. Reparations, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Tata. Habari.
Habari Mzuri. How are you? How are you today?
I'm good. And how are you?
So what are you going to be teaching us today, reparations? What are we going to what are we going to be teaching us today?
Yes, today we're going to learn about everything reparations. Why we are so uncomfortable with the word reparations. The necessary steps we have to take as a people to demand reparations. What reparations will do for us in terms of security and protection. And what reparations will stand in our life and do for us after reparations has been passed, and then also the current news on reparations.
Wonderful. All right. So I guess if you have questions about reparations, anything, just drop them in the comment section. And so to you, reparations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tata. Habari, beautiful family. So, reparations is something that we must demand. But before I go into that, let's talk about why we are so uncomfortable with the word reparations. This goes back to old-fashioned mental slavery, lack of self-esteem, and the tools that have been placed by slavery that has conditioned us to feel uncomfortable about the simple word reparations. This goes deep. It's almost like the same way we feel so proud to speak good English, like something about us or something for us is dirty and it's not worthy. So our worth, the mere fact that so many of us is uncomfortable with the word reparation speaks volumes to our self-worth. We are lacking serious self-esteem. We are mentally enslaved, and obtaining reparations will give us the time to heal. Because we all know we live in a very, very, very busy world. The world is not going to stop. You have to take care of your bills. So reparations will give us that time it's going to take for us to heal because we became a broken people. We need time to heal. And whilst we get that time to heal, all our necessary creature comforts that have been ripped of us for so long will be taken care of. So let's go back to why we feel so uncomfortable with the word reparations and the necessary steps we have to take to fix this. So self-worth, mental slavery, the negativity, the kind of things that we say when we are having discussions about reparations. Oh, we're going to blow all that cash. Black people have survived under immense conditions. We have balanced and been able to provide with very little. Look at the achievements we've done with the little we have. And there's something that's telling us that when we have reparations, we won't be able to manage it. That is propaganda. Anything that sheds a negative impact on your people as a collective, you must be very intentional about why you're feeling this way. We say emancipate yourself from mental slavery. It's not going to happen just by catchphrases. We have to take necessary steps to break this down. So, and then we also feel a sense of pride sometimes when we hear the word reparations, like, oh, I don't need reparations. Reparations is begging and all these kind of things. Because we have a lack of knowledge and understanding of what reparations is. Reparations is to repair wrongdoings. It is for accountability. It's for self-respect. People are not going to respect you when they have caused harm to you and you don't hold them accountable and you turn around and be doing business with them. Reparations will give us that accountability. If people are not accountable for, then there will be no reason for them to do the right thing. They can do whatever they want. That is why, like a week ago, a black man called the police and the police shot him in front of his daughter. There is no accountability. Black people are still being lynched. Reparations will give accountability. Once you have accountability, you have protection and security. Once an admittance has been set for the wrongdoings that were done and things are being put in the right place, automatically reparations, apart from money going to the individual black person, will go to institutes like policing. The black community, through reparations, will have the authority to be able to establish its own police force. It will have the necessary money to back this up. Every black person's life will be positively impacted immediately once reparations is passed. Once reparations is passed, let's say, for example, America. Once reparations is passed, America loses like 50% of its white population automatically. That is why they don't want to give us reparations. We came here as slaves, and slaves, we must remain to them. So it is up to us to rise up and demand reparations. In terms of accountability, reparations, because we haven't demanded accountability through forms like reparations, that is why Project 2025 can exist. If America had been made accountable and paid reparations to black people, there will be no way Project 2025 will be drafted. Project 2025 is just like Tulsa, Rosewood, Black Wall Street, when they burned down Black Wall Street and nothing was ever done about it. It's the same way. We manage, against all odds, build our communities, have our own banks, have our own shops, trade within ourselves, have a booming black community. And white America, because the intent for white America is for black people to be slaves, and we had risen above that, burnt down Black Wall Street, and there was no accountability. When you burn down Black Wall Street, it's just like drafting Project 2025. You're canceling everything we did, the same way Project 2025 wants to cancel all the civil rights of Black people in America, and we must rise up. Yes, we understand that slavery existed. Right now, we are knowledgeable. We have seen what boycotts have done for our civil rights movements in the past. We need to rise up again, and we're privileged to live in this time. It's not going to take a whole year to boycott buses before we get our rights on buses. No. America, Black America, going on a 1-week boycott of America entirely. We don't show up at work. We make up more than 50% of frontline workers in key states. We are frontline workers. We have the power to shut down America, shut down companies and lives. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, our ancestors died for this. A few days before Martin Luther King was assassinated, he was coming back, and he was coming to hold a demonstration to shut down Wall Street for 3 days so that we can demand our reparations. People, do not underestimate the power that you have. Project 2025 is no joke. Go to page 583 of Project 2025. It's a big document. If you don't want to read it all, don't worry, you don't have to. Go to page 583. The amendment title, Black people lose all their rights at work for equal employment. All of that is reversed. Go and check Project 2025 and see how many times the word reverse is used. We have no choice but to fight this, because it's going to affect us one way or another. Either you get up, boycott, and stop it, or the rules and regulations of 2025 is going to make you do more than stand up and boycott. It's going to destroy livelihoods. It's going to set us back, just like the day they woke up and burnt Black Wall Street, because we had progressed too much. Now, when the elections were going on, that was the perfect opportunity for us to have made our voices heard and demand reparations. During the campaign for the elections, a bill in California was passed. Was not passed, yes, for reparations. It was vetoed. The current government right now, it's better we deal with them than we deal with Trump. So we have very, very limited time, and we know what is going on in this world. We need to protect ourselves and secure ourselves. We are so vulnerable. We going on a boycott, no work, no school, no spending, will give a clear indication of how powerful we are. I'm telling you, companies will collapse. Some will never even maybe recover. Lives will be put on hold. We have no choice but to demand our civil rights, or we're going to lose them. Project 2025 is no joke. And reparations, the most important thing about reparations is for accountability. Now, please be dropping your comments. Let me go back to the point of accountability and us being stripped from everything that we've always had. And the fact that we are mentally enslaved and are not able to perceive things like reparations, and then we say things like maybe we won't be able to handle the money. And then also another big thing that comes up that brings a lot of division and misunderstanding between us is that when reparations is passed, who will qualify? The same way you identify on application form, Black, African American. All of a sudden, when it comes to reparation, you see how immediately we become divided. Everything in the little things that we can do to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, anything that divides us, before you go ahead and act upon it or speak upon it, think and ask yourself, why don't I want this when it's for the betterment of Black people as a whole? Yes, individually, some of us are doing fantastic, but collectively, we are doing so bad. And that pride that we often feel that reparations is a form of begging, we can't even afford to have that pride. Your brother, your sister is drinking water with cows and sheep in the water, and you think you have a sense of pride. So the bill that was canceled in California, this speaks volume to how divided we are as a people. Next week when I come, I'll bring receipts of the Black Democrats that withdrew the bill for reparations. And you have to understand that although the bill was canceled, the state of California gave $6 million to the study of reparations. There's 2.2 million Black people in California. So even if they had split that 6 million up and given a fraction of what reparations that is owed to us, even that would have been a start. Next week, I'll be here with the 4 names. I don't know if you want to do some research of the people that blocked the reparation bill, so that maybe the next time when you go and vote and all those things, you see those people, you see that they're Black, but then you'll be able to know that they're not really for the cause. So we must move away from divide and conquer. When it comes to regulations, there are so many ways that we can help people once they get their reparations check. That is also often a shadowy aspect of reparations, that we will not be able to manage the money. The check can be split in two. The first part comes automatically to every Black person before even the institutes and all that, to set up our own policing, our own hospitals, our own schools, because reparations give us independence. But there's a codependency system that disadvantages us. That is why reparations is not passed. So in terms of managing our money, once we get the reparations, it can be split into two. The first check, as I said, goes out automatically without any ifs or buts or maybes, just because you're Black. Even the illegal immigrants, yeah, it'll be lucky for them that day, because all Black people all over the world, there's not a single Black person, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you understand it or not, that has not been affected negatively by slavery. So before the second check is released, they can do some incentives, like some courses, something basic like when you're going for your driving test, or whenever you're going for your immigration papers, those kind of regular tests they have within structures and institutes. There, it can cover healing, because we need time to heal as a people. So there can be some therapy provided there. There can be financial advice. Some of the money on that second part can be done in a certain way that if you don't have certain things like a business or a house, that can automatically go into that. And then there can be tax incentives, that if you use your reparation money for business to support the community, or even business to go back home as a diaspora doing business in Africa, there'll be certain tax breaks and incentives. And in terms of accountability and security and protection, reparations, in terms of what reparations could look like for Africa. Before a foreign company can come and do business in Africa, let's take, for example, I'll bring the necessary slides next week. We had some technical difficulties. Like, there was a recent calculation of $21.7 billion that France owed Haiti in reparations. So let's say France wants to come and do business in Africa. This calculation of reparations, if your government haven't paid it, you're not welcome. If you are an individual company and you oppose the cruelty that Black people have been through, and you genuinely want to make things right, then a certain percentage of the reparations owned by your country, you can pay that on behalf of your country, set up certain incentives that give back to the community, like these conscious brands and all of that. If you're not conscious, if you're not coming to give back, you're not welcome. We don't even need you. So, for protection and security, we must make sure that we demand reparations. I don't know, I don't even can see any comments over here. I wanted to find out what was going back in terms of feedback and all of that.
Oh, we have a lot of just reactions here. I don't to flip out the reactions that you have here, but I can see a lot of interaction. Brother Parker said a plan for reparations, traveling towards hospitals and coverage. We also need, passport, tour guides, banking in Africa. Just a lot. I think, yeah, usually is say nobody has never told them for over 400 how to spend. Of course, so nobody should be able to tell us how. So I think, yes, it's a great topic. I see the interaction here. So if you want me to flip it up to you so you can be able to respond to them, the comments are right here. I know it's not easy for you to, to read the comments because you are in the guest session. Yeah, so you can go on, carry on. I'll be putting that for you.
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you. So another very important thing about reparations is unity. We are having a difficult time as a community being united. Some of us are on it, but collectively, we are not united enough. That is why Black Democrats can vote against reparations. We are going to investigate who was on the list of people that were studying reparations at the time, because corruption keeps us very, very, very divided. Corruption is everywhere. So what reparations will do for us is immediately unite us. What the world is so afraid to see, a united Black people, reparations immediately takes care of that. And so many other different aspects. It takes care of that immediately. And not only will we be united, we'll be united on a serious note of positivity. Not that always we are united and we are crying somewhere and our brother is dying and our children are demonstrating in the streets of Kenya and they are shooting them and then we get united. No, this will be a euphoric, positive unity. And it can help us maintain our unity and let us know who we are as a people. Certain programs will be put in place for you to obtain all of your reparations. So, people, let's recognize that time is of the essence. Yes, even when Donald Trump is in office, we will still have no choice but to fight Project 2025 and fight for our civil rights. Because it is seriously alarming how Black people are killed every day. The other day, the man Sonia Massey, I know that it's very important to bring receipts. How many of us are aware that after Sonia Massey was slayed, within a week, her 4-year-old grandchild was shot by the police? I will have to bring the necessary documentation for the follow-up, so we'll treat these subjects all over again. So people, we need to be united. We need to come together. We have to take this very, very, very seriously. We can't be afford to be distracted. And another thing that can really help with our unity and our push for the demand of reparations is Black media. Look, during the elections, in the heart of the civil rights movement, the state, Georgia, all those Black people went on stage and not a single Black person opened their mouth to say the word reparations. And we think we are honoring our ancestors. Everything they've worked so hard for. We can't afford to let ignorance rule. And this phase that we are in our lives, I'm living my best life, I'm living my best life, I'm living my best life. No, you can't live your best life when your brother and your sister is drinking water with animals and with feces in the water. You can't be living your best life when your brother is being shot. So there's a crisis, should I say, because we all know what is going on in the world right now. We know what stage we're at. We know the conflict. We know the confusion. We know the uncertainty. And when everything happens, the most vulnerable people in society are the ones who will suffer. And Black people, unfortunately for some time, have been the underdogs. We got a clear picture of what a possible war will look like when Ukraine and Russia, how they treated our children. Alliances have been drawn, even when Saudi gave out the list of all the African people and countries that are no longer welcome in their country back in 2021. Time is of an essence. Yes, we will rise up no matter what, but how many of us? That's the question. We have become too comfortable with us being killed and shot and suffer. It's become like our norm. We have normalized trauma. Like, whether you want to or not, whether you are interested or not, just because you're Black, the same way when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you're tired, you don't really want to get out of bed, but you get out of bed, brush your teeth, do what you have to do, and take care of your business. The same way, we have to find a way to connect together collectively. This is how the Black media comes into it. We need to be focused. We need to be very, very intentional. Look, let's not underestimate the power of the media, especially in this time we live in. And the fact that we have social media. That is why, although the struggles are hard, we are still so blessed to be fighting this struggle in the time that we are. Let's take that to our advantage. The internet is not always going to be so easily used. Already look at all the regulations and all of those things, and your channel being flagged down and all those kind of things. When the Lekki tragedy happened in Nigeria, what did the authorities first do? Switch off the internet. We are very, very vulnerable. And we must find a way to build community and strengthen ourselves in the community. So people, it is very necessary. Again, let me stress on Black media being very focused and very intentional and educating the people about what is going on. Project 2025 is absolutely no joke. What is currently happening right now, he's not even in the office yet. Look at how Black people are being basically lynched on a daily basis. Go to any social media platform, go to any news channel, go anywhere. It's back to back to back to back to back, even more than the times that we were, they accepted by law to be lynched. It wasn't even that regular then. Okay, the population has grown, but when you think about percentage and calculate it and How often? So people, we must get together. Black media, once again, needs to step up so much. Look at what happened in Rwanda. The media had a tremendous role to play for that to end. Back in the day when all those massacres and all those tragedies and genocide and horrific things were happening in Rwanda, it was the media had a serious role to play there. They became focused, they became one, they became united to fight for their people. This is our time, and nobody is going to hand it over to you that easy. Because this is our time, they're going to come at us harder. So we must be prepared to back things up. We have become too comfortable and conditioned to seeing us suffer, and it doesn't have to be that way. Look at all the things that we have achieved. Don't let mental slavery block you from knowing that reparations is deserved. So many other countries and places get reparations. America pays reparations to Japan, to some other Middle Eastern country on the regular. Yes, we have been oppressed. Yes, racism and institutional racism is real. But right now, we need to rise up and stand up and fight. Because either way, you're going to stand up and rise up and fight. Do you know Project 2025? Those people, apartments, your apartment building can wake up and come and kick you out. People on certain benefits and all that, they clearly indicated reversal. They put colored, ethnic, you, black people. So it's not anything we have to take lightly. And once again, in honor of our ancestors. And remember that we are all going to be ancestors one day. Let us begin to learn how to send our ancestors off happy. We can't sit back and everything we've worked so hard for just be taken away from us just like that. So people, let me see if I can see some of the comments. I knew nothing about Rwanda here in America due to the media. The O.J. Simpson trial dominated the airways in 1995 on purpose. It was all by design. Very, very correct. We have to be very, very careful of distractions. Yes, you see the time. Look, the FBI, those people in charge of the Diddy case, they had this information a long time ago. It's tragic. It's a distraction. What is going on in the Diddy case is serious, and reparations will treat this issue on a different day, because there is like Diddy's. There's a Diddy in 80% of homes. And because I'm black, I'm concentrating on the black homes. And people who get upset about things like focusing on your people, the same way when you're sitting in the airplane, they tell you to put your nose mask on even before you put it for your children. And till my people are of equal standing to the rest of the world, we must continue fighting. When we are all on equal peril, then we can. And the people who are saying that in terms of distraction and the black people who have a tendency to side with Donald Trump. And he's going to give Diddy the death penalty. He's against pedophilia, blah, blah, blah. Look, we have to learn to read between the lines. Everybody's on blast. He's putting death penalty on Diddy because he'll kill him. Yes. And he'll stop talking. And he's a master producer. So as we are all looking, he's making maybe plans of the biggest production, production. You don't know the level that maybe he's getting ready to take it. Back to back jail interviews, putting more people on blast. Do you understand? So we have to learn to read between the lines. When people say he's for morals because he's not for the abortion and all those things. Look, in times of war, every government must preserve their population. Yeah? So learn to read between the lines, people, okay? And those who said Kamala wasn't for black people, yes, Kamala is not for black people, it's a fact. But because of Project 2025 and what it means to us, we pick her and we leave Donald. Yes, that's what we should have done. When we forget about all that, that's already done. We have to fix it. Black people can be free overnight. Simple, thank you. Simple unity. Look, we can fix this within a week. A week. Look, a whole boycott. Even forget about the shopping and all that, but we do all of that. We don't show up at work for a week. Do you know how many companies will collapse? And you know, these governments, all they care about is money, the economy, the economy, the economy. We carry the economy. Black people are the engine to America. We build it. We keep it running. We have the power, people. And yes, we can unite so easily. Look, apart from the boycott, we go live on all social media platforms. Some platforms will even crash. We can look. It is so simple. And people who say, what about if I lose my job? You're going to lose your job anyway because of Project 2025. Time is of an essence. But if we had planned it a bit better, you have backup jobs, this, that, and there will be sacrifice. And you're going to sacrifice way more than that job. And then also boycott, especially if we don't do this before Donald Trump gets into power. Boycotting is the safest way for us, because that will be in your home. Yes, some of them will break into the house and come and get us, but they won't have us so easily available on the streets and all that. So that gives you a clear indication of, I don't want to be part of you. You don't get to hurt me anymore. When white America felt the need to segregate and build their strength and their wealth and their empire, they segregated and did what they needed to do. So sometimes, especially if you are being discriminated against, segregation will be the only way to go. Till we are on equal grounding and not so vulnerable, then we can afford to blend in. But even that, because of mistakes of the past, there'll always be incentives, tax breaks, like how the millionaires get tax breaks and all of them, and it's all about that, the system working for us, for them. For the first time, the system will be working for us. Tax breaks to unite us, to bring us together as a community. So people, remember that time is of an essence. We're living in very, very, very alarming and dangerous times that even you're not able to freely talk because of censorships and all those kind of things. So that must tell you what time it is. And please, people, If nobody's telling you to go and read the whole of Project 2025, the same way you didn't go and read in a book anywhere that you have to clean chicken before you eat. Let me see this comment. You all ever heard of Great Depression? Is you all trying making that happen again? We don't need to not work. We just stop buying shoes for more than 25, fast food, etc., and say, look, that too will work. That is all part of it. But time is of an essence, and we have serious things to do. Yes, that will take some time. And time is unfortunately what we don't have. Boycotting is serious, direct, on point, fast. Our children are weary. They have suffered enough. And yes, they could never finish us all. Never. It's impossible. And that's what the beauty of boycott. The beauty of boycott is that you don't have to go on the streets and demonstrate. It's safer. Our ladies and our men that have been sodomized, raped, beaten, records destroyed just for your civil rights. That doesn't have to happen with a boycott. People, do not underestimate the power of boycott. That is why, once again, Black media is so important. We need to become focused and we need to push an agenda. Because look, slavery had certain things put into place. That's why a lot of us think the way we do. And we are going to have to, and they put time and money and invested in that to make sure that it's good and it sticks. So we also need time and money to invest in ourselves to bring us out of bondage. So look, we have to come together and push an agenda. Let's start rerunning stories of boycotts, what they did for us. And it's not like back in the day. Money has become so they can capture you all. I'm not too sure. They can't. Who has copies of what types of reparations demanded? Yes. So, people, let us become intentional. Let us somehow share, tag each other, certain media platforms that are pushing and look, when I see the young people like Kai Sanat, I just feel it's such a blessing. Look at the influence these young people have. And it's only, look, the fundamentals of it all is he was a great, Black, awesome guy. That was the fundamental of what got him famous. Look at all our collective numbers, millions, thousands. Look at the influence Black media has on the minds of the people. We directly dictate what is going on. And if we were to come together and push an agenda and do this boycott, because it's going to take a drastic measure for us to get reparations. Yes, we can also be pushing it through the courts. Start exposing these 4 Black Democrats that I want to mention their names, who blocked the reparation bills from passing. Bring out news like that. Set a clear agenda. We have a lot of organizations where Black media meets and all of that. Let's understand the seriousness. And look, maybe what is going on certain pages and all that may not be exactly to your taste and all that kind of thing. But think about the end goal, the unity, the power that we have. People have 10 million subscribers, this, that. That's more than a 1 million match right there. And it's virtual. Let's not lose or waste, because we have become so wasteful as a people. That's why we have no value for ourselves. Look, I don't even know, maybe because of ignorance, that's why we can sleep at night, because things like Project 2025 is there, and maybe because we become so immune. But we stand to lose everything, all our rights. Look at how happy they've started sending all these ridiculous texts, go back to the plantation. Look at the time and effort they invest in it. We have TikTok, we have trends. Just let Black consciousness trend. And time is of an essence, people, because we're going to have to do this regardless. It's going to affect you one way or another. And it's better we push an agenda. Christmas time is coming. This is the busiest time of the year. You see how Black men for Democrats, all those kind of things, Black people organize themselves within 24 hours, within 48 hours, get millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars to Kamala. Look at how fast that was organized within 48 hours. We have no excuse. We have to push an agenda. We have to become conscious as a people. And you have to be able to retaliate to people who are not on the course. People block you just for having reparations as your name. People, look, we can put out a statement from the press, from the Black media. Every Black media source, social media, whatever the source is coming from, post out a petition, post out a clear agenda. We just circulate that, post that, post that, post that, post that, post that, bring up our numbers, even through a petition. The people who don't post and are not for the agenda, drop their numbers and subscribe, because we cannot afford to think that we are living our best lives. That is a distraction. Look, be very, very careful of distractions. And once again, we can simply start a trend to be conscious. Put out a video there, a trendy video. All these stars and all the Black entertainment industry, you see how everybody flocked and went to do things for Kamala. The same way, we have to come together and stop Project 2025, or it will keep on happening over and over and over and over again. Always, when we go forward a little bit, they'll knock us back. They did it with Black Wall Street, burnt it down. Now, they're coming to burn us and bring us back down with Project 2025, which is even worse. You just have no rights. You have no civil rights. It's like the most evil, racist person's wish book. That alone tells you the kind of world we live in. Look, let's go back to when the thing happened, the pandemic. That was a clear indication of the kind of world we live in. People don't mind you dying, so far as you don't inconvenience them. But you see that convenience of you can't be bothered to go out there, and you can't be bothered to boycott and all that, you will experience a greater inconvenience. Look, we're in the physical realm now. We're going to be ancestors longer, way longer than we are alive. So we don't care when you get there. So people, I think because of the slideshow, and I don't want to come out here and put out too much without receipts. I would like to end on this. I hope that I have brought you a little insight into how much we need to demand reparations because of accountability. Accountability provides protection and security and independence. And we need to come together and push a Black agenda to secure ourselves. So, this comment: stop spending so much money for Christmas, save and invest your money, educate your children about your African heritage, buy them books instead of useless expensive toys. Yes, we have to become very conscious and intentional as a people. Look, the end of the year is coming. The swearing in will be in the beginning of January. This time, Christmas time, let's just say maybe from the 16th to the 21st. Then the weekend, we give ourselves a break and continue. You know, Kwanzaa, the proposed Black holiday. Yes. Let's make it a Black Christmas this year. Let us have reparations passed, and we can do it, people. We can do it. Look, get out of your minds. Get out of that mental slavery. Once again, this is where Black media becomes so important to push an agenda. If we are serious and we mobilize ourselves, just like how we were serious and mobilized ourselves for Black men for America, Kamala, Black women for Kamala, and within 48 hours, we did so much. We can do it for ourselves. Because once again, Project 2025 is no joke. So, thank you for your audience. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And let me see. So, people, have a blessed night. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. Be intentional. If it causes divide amongst your people as a collective, think twice before you say it or do it. Because the most important thing that's holding us back is mental. All the things we say when we see reparations is mental. We have to take ourselves out of mental slavery and remember what we have done in the past. What more in this advanced world of technology we live in? There's no excuse. Right now, the problem is not white people. It is what Black people are going to do about white people. So on that note, I'd like to end.
Oh, thank you so much, sister. I mean, that was great. And I hope people, you could actually get a feeling of what we talk about on this topic, reparation. I think our sister has actually broke down, and I can just say cast out the spell that has been on us, the inability for us to address reparations and even to say it and even to think about it. So I really want to thank you, sister. So when is your show coming up again? When are we expecting? I know you had a huge presentation to make, but it was not possible.
Yes.
When are we expecting you to come live, weekly or weekends? I'm so looking forward.
Yes.
Can you just explain what you'll be doing on Pan African Daily, on reparations and other shows that will be coming up?
Yes. So reparations will be on Sunday afternoon, 12 G Central Eastern Time. Yes, yes. All the people who miss church, I'm for you. Yes. All the non-church goers, no, I'm just joking. So yes, reparations will be weekly. We'll start weekly on Sundays, and then we'll take it from there. Apart from reparations, there are great, 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 great other shows coming up on Pan African Daily TV. From the youth, we're going to hear from the youth about eating well, holistic eating, about travel, about what it means to be a Black person, about people in different industries, in the people showcasing their skills and their ability in different fields of the Black community. Yes, and most importantly, to bring about our unification, to get us united and on the same page with the same agenda, pushing for our freedom, our liberation, and our reparations. So yes, so that's basically it.
Thank you so very much. You are joining us live from Ghana, and I hear the upcoming elections in Ghana. Do the upcoming leaders or opposition leaders also address issues like reparation? I mean, first of all, I want to congratulate Ghana. I think we had almost close to 600 African Americans and others actually have,
Citizenship.
their citizenship in Ghana. I mean, do you want to say something a little bit about it before you close your show? I'm sorry.
Sure, yes. Like individually, there's some Black people in Ghana, from the diaspora living here, who are doing amazing, wonderful things. There was a recent ceremony, yes, for 500 plus people for the citizenship. So that's going on. In terms of reparation, you don't really hear them talking about it. Once or twice, if they do, it's very shabby. I don't know, maybe if they see it's trending on social media, but the lack of follow-up or the lack of truth in what our current government is doing in Ghana, even if you were to hear him on stage talking about reparations, you can't take any word of that seriously, because yes, individually there's fantastic things going on in the continent. A lot of unity is happening in terms of the diaspora coming down to Ghana, setting up businesses, because as we know, a lot of tension and stuff is going on in the West, and people have just had enough. So those who have the ability to leave have left, and they've come. And you see, another thing too is that it's so important for us to come back home. Those in the diaspora, it's very, very, very important to get a self of being, a self of self. There's nothing that can never be explained till you experience it. So that's also what reparations will do. There'll be a part of reparations that will help you come back to the motherland. The same way they came to collect us, reparations standard ticket to any Black place, Black country you want on the continent. It's just going to be standard, yes. So yes, so there's a lot of unity that way. But because of the present economic government mess up that's going on in Ghana. It's even heartbreaking and wrenching sometimes for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora to be so bold, to invest everything they have and to move on to the motherland. And because certain laws and protections and implications and corruptions and all that is going on, we must stop allowing ourselves to fail. Yes, we must be able to, yes, it's going on, but we can do much better. We must be able to receive our brothers and sisters better in terms of when they come here, we should protect their money and their investment more. The ratio of success and non-success has to be better managed so that we'll be going on more of like a 90 or 80% success rate. But in terms of propaganda, once again, mental slavery, don't for once, people, feed into that there's a we don't like each other. No. Once you step on the motherland, that thing vanishes. Yes, you come into problems and difficulties and all those kind of things, but a sense of being home. Come and see people who have never come to Ghana before crying like babies, like they're being ripped apart from their whole family or everything they know, going back to America. Grown men crying like baby. So in terms of that, there's a lot of unity. There's a season of us coming back home, and we have to better support that and make sure that as much as we are going home, we are coming home. A lot of foreigners, because you know Africa is the new thing. Africa is it. Do you understand? So because Africa is the new thing, the daggers are coming out 100% more. So the level that we are at now, we can't afford to stay there. No way. There's a scramble. Yeah. Yes. So wonderful things are going on, but at the same time, we have a lot of serious issues that we need to take care of. And reparations solves half of our problems. And it's our money that has been taken from us to fix our problems that you created from taking away our money. How does that not make sense? How could there be a problem with reparations if it wasn't more greed and evil? Look, Project 2025 and the reactions of the society, the people who are happy and jubilating because we're supposedly going back to their plantation and all that, tells you exactly who you're dealing with and where you're at. Donald Trump is the poster child for the average American, is their inner feelings. They love him so much because what they think and say, he does it for them. But they have to be in the privacy of their own home before they can feel comfortable and say all those things. But he's just their poster child. So I don't even know how I got back here. I pray for a time that Black people, we can talk 20 minutes without mentioning that name. Yes. So that's what's going on the continent. And farming. Yes, farming. A lot of African
Thank you, powerful lady. Thank you, powerful sister. Thank you actually for creating your space on Pan-African Daily TV. I see a lot of comments and these questions. If I look at Shakaye, what are you asking these questions to? Are you asking to the African Union, or you're asking to African people, or you're asking to the Queen here? The Queen is talking about reparations and whether the Africans on the continent are running away. That's a mental thing that we all know that is a problem. Are we here supposed to debate on that, or to join our voices as one I keep thinking as if we like somebody is coming up to tell us about reparations, and we're here bombarding her with some questions that, as a matter of fact, I think is she wrong on that, right? So I mean, it is upon all of us. It is upon all of us. We know the brain damage, and I understand the complexity, my brother. Shaka, you're saying the same thing that I keep asking, like, where are you running to? Like, you are running to somewhere and the people are running to your home. It is brain damage. We all know it. No matter how many times we're going to say these things, we are all being bamboozled. And that's why the black media really matters. The little one that we are doing here is already creating a lot of change. Imagine if we have to have about 100 of just this small media that we are doing, right? So I really want to congratulate you, sister. You're so bold. I've never seen anybody that came here and brought this topic. And even the African Union is addressing this topic now, justice for the Africans in 2025. So we're doing a great job. We have to continue to educate our people. We have to continue to tell our people, but how can you really tell somebody that is so bad out here when they're being told that they are in the poor country? Poverty is a mindset. And we do know that the world had kept us poor. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank is the biggest weapon that has kept African governments crippled from time immemorial, from the creation of the so-called world that they brought. We know that. So how can you blame a common African child that has just been, or a youth that has been lied to for many years? You go to university, you get a university certificate, and then you come out and get a job. All those are scammers. It never ever functioned. It never ever worked for the African. It never has worked. It will never work. So it is time that at least we are figuring out. At least this military, they call them the military juntas. At least we have something to reckon with. At least we have something to put our voices together. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and a lot of blocks are joining that. Dr. Arikana said, even if it's one, at least we have one now. For the past thousands of years, we never had even one. Now we have just three in the shortest time. What are we waiting for? So it's time. What are the ones that are leaving and coming to the diaspora? The ones that are awoke have to carry on the mantle and continue to teach each other. We are doing and going, and they are spoiling and coming behind. So we have to continue. Yes, sister. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whether it's a neighbors or who captured and sold who or whatever into what, we don't have that time now. We don't have time to know who sold who to who. We don't have time to negotiate who was doing what to who. No, that we don't have time for that. We don't have time to begin to think, because most of us are still sitting and still blaming Africans, blaming your ancestors. Oh, you were the one that sold her. That is no negotiation for now. Let us first of all unite. We get our Africa. We can then sit in the table and say, what happened? Those are internal policies. I say it all the time. But we cannot be at war. We cannot be in the front line and be arguing again who did what to who. If you just meet me fighting, just join me and let's fight. When we win the fight and we go back home, we'll settle it. Who was right, who was wrong, maybe. So now is not a time for politics. It's not a time for who did wrong. Now we must save ourselves. We must save our continent. Every other person is doing the same thing. So asking some question like who did this or who didn't do that, honestly, people, I just think that's not just the time for now. We don't need that time now. We don't have that luxury. Time is against us. Now we begin to see the uprisings also in the world. I mean, the world is also not getting it. Is it not the right time for us to focus? When they are not even getting it on the table, they can't make any decisions for themselves right now. What are we waiting for? Are we going to sit and be arguing who is right, who is not right? It is that if we are so clever, there will never be any other chance for us. like this time. And this is our time. And we're not negotiating with anybody. So we have to focus and speak in one language. Whether I'm wrong today, it doesn't matter. Whether you're right, it doesn't matter. We just have to put our mouths together now. We have to put our mouths together now. I mean, honestly. So anyway, I want to thank our sister. I don't know, she was just kicked out, and she did a good job. I mean, we said it yesterday. Please, she did a fantastic job. And I need most of you to come up. Shaka, I need you to come up. HKA, I need you to come up. Johnny, NS Parker, I need you all to come up. It is time. We don't have time anymore. Pan African Daily cannot stay for a whole day without a live show going on, or somebody teaching somebody something, or mobilizing, or just putting our voice out there. It is very easy to do it. I only need to share the link with you, and you are already live. We cannot spare one day without us gathering here, because you just don't even know what is happening around our backyard. And my mouth is full. All of us, our mouths are full. We can't even speak anymore, because this is the best opportunities that we are having. And we should all be rallying and looking at what is next to be done now. They don't give visas again for your people to come to Europe. Thank God. Hallelujah. Don't give the visas. Let them stay home. It was even more damaging when they continued to give those visas or those scholarships. No, we don't want it. As a matter of fact, what is stopping us from shutting, from just stopping and saying no African moves out? They don't even give the visas. You go to every embassy on the continent, people stand like they are going for a rally. China, Dubai, even the last places in the world where people don't even have food, because Africans have been so miseducated. They are queued up. They spend thousands upon thousands looking for visas, and they will never return that money to them, even when they refuse giving them visas. Most of them borrow money. They sell their land. Oh my God, to come where? We are here. We've seen it. And they say they don't want our people. Then we say, yes, true. We don't even want them to come. Stop making those immigration policies easy for us. That's why I love Germany. Germany has just said no. If an illegal immigrant from Africa comes here, you who supported her to come or him to come is 10,000 euros. Isn't that a plan? Isn't that a plan? Not all of us will have to drown. Right? But then they say, no, we want but the Bangladeshi, and we want the ones that have digital talent. And we say, yes, keep our people home so that we can build our land. So a lot of Africans also on the continent are being conscious. They just don't want to leave. You know about the Usman Toure's, the Emmas. It's not just everybody. They won cases, and it's always the deal of the media to always portray the Black people as they are running away. I'm telling you, migration on the continent of Africa is 90% than what you see Africans leave. It's just 1%. We have to do our research. It's just because any bad thing, they would focus on the Black person. That's just it. Any one thing. If there are 50 or 100 people drowning at sea, the one that the camera would capture is the one that is brown, just to make a show out of it, that Africans don't even know what they want. But migration on the continent from one country to the other is way bigger, because it's a one country. I don't even know why they call it migration from one country to the other. Africans have a right to move around their continent the way they feel. And even when we talk about traveling, Africans have a right to travel too. Who stops them from going to Africa? Why should Africans not travel? We tell them, yes, do travel, but don't travel as if you're running away from something, from your gold and diamond. You have a right to travel to study. You have a right to travel to gain experiences. I think all of us are revolutionized because we learned something else. We see how the other systems have built their economies, and we are eager to build our own. Without that experiences, we would not be able to be speaking with facts and data and true facts. Some people had to move to be able to make it happen. So I'm not totally against saying, oh, people should not travel. No, you can travel if you have a plan and you have a purpose to travel. Why not? They travel every day to Africa. I mean, just bought an Ethiopian Airlines, or you bought an aircraft that is going to South Africa. You'll be sure that you're going to be the only African on board. So tourism is a whole sort of business. Africans have a right to travel, but they don't even accept them to travel because they say, oh, they come and take our jobs and something like that. The continent is 1.4 billion people, right? And they are going to be the most populated continent. So we have space, we have land, but of course, we have a right to travel like Chinese people. You saw them everywhere. Before Chinese could develop their technology, they were everywhere with their big, long cameras. What were they doing? What were they doing around? You see, even in every little part, even in a small village on the continent or any part of the world, Chinese people are there because travel is knowledge. When you travel, you take the technology of other countries and also implement it with your own. Africans have the right to travel. Yes. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. I was just being chacha because these are things we need to. Yes, the continent is not doing well. We have a lot of crazy things going up in West Africa. Countries that are still borrowing money from the European Union to fund infrastructures. Hey, hello. You've not even paid the loans. Your debts are rising every day, and you are still borrowing. And borrowing not to put in infrastructure. The borrower knows you're going to steal that money, corrupt it, and be owing debts that you're going to leave up to your children. Do you want us to spill out the beans? It's too much to talk about. But right now, we have to unite and do what is right for us. When we get home, and we'll sit down, we'll begin to fashion out all these internal policies. So what is coming up tomorrow? Or this week? This week we have this program that is coming up. Oh, I need process their goods or live from one country to the other. It's impossible that development on the continent can work. And so this week on PIDA in the AU, all the stakeholders that are in charge of infrastructures, air, land, water, are going to gather for a week. Multiple conferences would be coming up, and I want to really focus my nose in all those conferences to find out exactly what is on the ground, because sometimes we sit and just talk, but the people that are managing this continent, sitting in that African Union, we don't hold them accountable. We don't even know what is happening in the background. We can speak. The African child is always limited. Even when they want to box, their hands are shut because they don't have the force, they don't have the muscles, because they don't have facts. Like literally, you're thinking that I'm fighting for my people, but all the whole forces on the continent is fighting against you, because we don't understand these structures on the ground. And we had made it a point on Pan-African Daily. We have to understand what is going on in the major house of the African Union. So that is going to be the first conference. And the next conference will be coming up on the 5th to the 6th. And this is really going to be about the women. And this is the first time that we have struggled for so long to get access to what is the role of the African woman in the African Union. What are they doing? We've questioned ourselves. What are we? What are our responsibilities? What are you see that most of them, oh, they are ambassador for African, for United Nations, this and that. For what? For what? So the conference coming up from the 1st to the 6th in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, is going to be Women for Peace and Security. And I'm told, and I've been briefed about this concept, like the women of Africa, and now saying there would be no silencing of gun on the continent without the involvement of the women, without the women sitting on the table and negotiating. And so these top officials, these women led by the AU chair envoy for peace and security, she's called Madame Binita Diop. She's a Senegalese powerful queen out there. And most of these women are going to be led by the former president of Ethiopia, Haile Saleh Work, who is now retired. You used to know the president of Ethiopia was a woman. Now she is retired, but she's the one leading these women for peace and security on the continent, because the women are saying all the wars, all the challenges going up on the continent involves the girl child, involves our young boys. If they are not murdered at war, they don't have access to quality education. They don't, even when they do quality education, they don't have jobs. And these are the groups that are fleeing or leaving the continent. So how are we going to be producing children? And now we don't, and we see the children just go, leave us and go and come back either in coffins or they just get lost. So now the African women are waking up, even in the main house of the continent, the AU, and say, no, we need to know what you sit on those negotiation table and do. So we're going to have really top women, head of state, like Excellency Sir Leif Johnson is going to be there. We have all the pioneer women. We're going to have Dr. Nkosazana there, and it's going to be a 2 days of intensive feedback. What have they done? Because I learned this is the feed session, but then they want to take a retrospective of the 4 editions that have been going on. What have they achieved? What were the timeline? What was the plan? What have they succeeded? Because today we don't hear anything. We don't have any insider information. We just don't know. That's what we've been asking. Why is the woman so mute? Why is the African woman so quiet? We don't see it. It's all about the masculine energy on the continent. It's as if, we don't bother whether our children are dying at sea or they are dying at war on the continent. Or whether we like children without mothers and fathers. But of course, at least we begin to smell something, the coffee, to be able to know whether it's really deep or not. So yes, so I'll be away on these conferences, and you can be sure I'll bring you the right questions that you should be asking here. All right. Even immediately when I arrive, I'm going to go live maybe on Sunday or Monday at the opening ceremony. I can really not guarantee you, because I don't really just know. Sometimes you plan these things, but when you get into it, the commotion is just too high. One thing or the other, into the electricity or light or whatever. Something is just always, us, how diverse we are, even in our challenges, right? So, but it's a wonderful step for Pan-African Daily to really have access to quality information, to be able to report the works of our women out there. I told you last time, it is only when I went to South Africa and I went to the African Union headquarters where NEPAD is, and in Pretoria, and was researching information for myself, that I found out that Pan-African Women Organization existed even before the organization of the African Unity. Impossible. Like even the organization of the African Unity was founded because of the Pan-African Women Organization. And I'm really going to bring you a lot of information about that again. And that organizations existed today. It is called PAVO. P like Peter, A like Anthony, W like W like Williams or whatever, and O like organization, PAVO. I think you can research it for yourself. And so you have to understand it's not a coincidence that this balance on the continent must happen now for us to be free. There's been too much of this power tusk between, the female and the masculine energy. If it doesn't balance, and so the African woman is always looked upon as that woman that cannot speak for herself, cannot rise up for herself, cannot fight for her children. And we just look like helpless females. We look like helpless women. All we do is other people always telling us what to do, and it becomes so-called, no, it's a traditional thing that women must be obeying. No, just study your history, ancient African history, and tell me who were the rulers. The first military, navy, and whatever you talk about that beat out the colonials were not the men, were the women. We all know this. Are we fighting each other? No. Are we saying the women or the men of Africa are, like all this? I tell you, there's some words I don't use on Pan-African Daily. You know me so well. But we're talking about the harmony of a continent that is actually collapsing in every single part. And we're still here worshiping Father Christmas. We're still here going to all those parties and making Mickey Mouse and still dressing and acting like we literally take concepts of people and do it even more than them. We just read recently that even the Church of England is saying, no, we don't want that word again, church. We don't want to hear that name. We don't want to hear that word, church. So the Church of England or that committee is taking out the word church and replacing it with a community center. Does that make sense? But African would be the only one to embrace that word and die on it, even more than the people that even invented it. Because the UK society or the Western society have seen that it doesn't work. It was all a scam. All this whole thing of this, nothing existed. Even before they removed the word church in that vocabulary to describe all these big mega things where people have to go and worship whatever, never existed. Now they begin to call it a community center. But even before they removed the word, we had seen it. Currently, even in the US, most of those churches are being sold now, even to the imams, and they build a cathedral on it. Long before, they had already been transforming it into a museum or into a coffee shop or into a cafe or into schools. To just tell you, nothing ever happened in that constellation of people gathering and just thinking that something is going to come from heaven. Are we learning? But we're still going to be the ones to shop, to buy every single thing, fill our church houses on the continent and worship something that even the creators of that system don't even believe in any longer. People, we have work. No matter how we say it, we have work to do. We can take all our words and fill the she-billionaires and whatever. But in as much as we cannot feed our people and feed ourselves and feel comfortable at home in our own land, we still have too much to do than just celebrate. So I'll be bringing you very good news and very good information from the African Union this week in Addis Ababa. Just watch out. I'll definitely be going live there. If there's a possibility for me to go live, you would see everything that is going on. But at least we want to know or to get facts upon all the monies and the debts that you owe, that you were tricked and manipulated into by these foreigners, and taking your minerals all the time and giving you loan upon loan upon loan that you cannot pay. At least fix your roads and your infrastructures, let us see. So I think they'll have to get a lot of questions to answer from us. So I thank you so very much for this piece, and watch out exactly. And thank you for all those that have supported Sister Queen Alicia. Thank you so very much. And all of you that are here. And yes, we're going to continue the narrative. I love what our Sister Queen said. Hey, instead of us using that money to buy presents and do some kind of crazy thing, buy Christmas trees and lights, all that kind of thing, keep giving your money away. I remember when my boys were young, growing up here, and they're like, Mommy, people are celebrating Christmas, and we never had a Christmas tree. I said, for what? What? I never knew all such crazy stuff. Let them celebrate, but it's not your thing. It's not your own. And they're going to stop celebrating. Let's see how you continue to celebrate other people's thing, right? So I want to thank you, Sister Carol. You made a very good statement here. Keep those monies from those toys and invest it in the education of your children. What kind of education? Too. Now we start thinking too, what kind of education? Because now we know the different types of education, isn't it? It's been 4 years. We know a lot. In this 4 years, we're coming to 5 years. We know just so much. We cannot continue to begin to think that we need to learn every day. Learn what? The moment you just only go back to understand who was I before the Europeans came to me, that's all you need to know. Do you need 60 years to know about that? Do you need to Agenda 2063 for you to actually it's an exercise of one day. Just one day you sit in a corner and just reflect and just put yourself together and look at the picture. Your father, your great-grandfather, you look like them. Those are your gods. And you can wake up every morning and pour libations and thank them for bringing you into life so that you can fulfill your mission and your purpose in life. It doesn't take you 1 week to know that. Why do we keep talking about our woke consciousness as if it has to take us 2,000 years? To do what? To just sit down and know this is where I come from, and this is who my mother, my father, my lineage, and this is how we used to live. This is how we're living today. This is our culture to get together. This is our culture to tap on one another's and to find out how are they doing. Do you need to study a curriculum of that for 2,000 years? Even if you didn't know where you came from, now you know you are African. Whether you're in the diaspora or even on the continent, most Africans are living on the continent, don't even know that they are Africans. It's a fact. But do we need a whole lot of time to debate on who we are? It's insane. It's because sometimes we keep saying, oh, it's because we don't know. You know, we have to understand for how many years Professor Baina Bello has been singing the knowledge of self. How many years? 4 years? It's too much. Africans are super intelligent beings. They hear things one time and they know even the future. That's who your great, great, great ancestors were. They just know. They don't believe things. You don't come and tell them everything. They know it. So which kind of breed do we need to continuously say we'll sit here every day and teach and teach? How many times has Professor James not been teaching to us? The videos are right here on Pan-African Daily TV. How many times have Maponga, PLO, all these voices, African, now they are down in the fields. We'll sit every day and be drinking milk? No. We have to move. Always the plan. We need the plan for what? Your ancestors never had any plan. What is a plan for? These are all things in our mind. Just move and go and do it. And you see it happen. That's an African. That's Ubuntu-ness. Don't need to sit and think, what is it? How am I going to do it? What am I? Yeah, and you need to figure out, no, we need to strategize. Those are all theories that we all learned. In the village, they just know I'm waking up. I have to go to the farm. My cattle need salt, or my children will be going to school. I have to figure out how they do it. The farms need to be tilted. The women just knew we have to gather ourselves together. And that, what did it have to take a whole theory of strategy? I never saw anywhere that they had to plan and sit and say, no, we're going to do it. They just jumped and did it. So where did we learn all these long things? No, we need to come with this to ask for reparations, to know that you deserve what was taken from you forcefully, stolen from you. You need to sit down and plan. Oh, come on. We don't have time, like reparations say. There's no time now. Now we'll be talking here with tick, 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 right? No time. We're not going to sit here and politicize. Oh, no, let us do this. Let us learn this before this. For what? For what? There are a lot of chemicals that you just blend it in an African sauce. and you eat without looking, oh, where did this one come from? Or where did this one come from? It's a mixture. You're not going to sit and study, go to the laboratory. If I take palm oil and put what we call kanwa into it, and then it's going to give you a yellow color of sauce. Where did they ever go to do that? In which laboratory to test whether it would then be fit for this stomach or not? Do I sound like bushy? Yes, because that's really, sometimes we have to think like that. And stop being too civilized, developed professionals, PhDs, and that and that. That's one of our problems, being too intelligent enough to not even think the basic things. So people, we don't have time. Yes, my mouth is full. Here, I can't say it. We should just understand from the feeling of 12:12 and Ubuntu. Just understand what time. What is the time now? What is the time? What is the time? Look at all the happenings. The whole world is confused. Which time could be so beautiful and suitable for Africa? Now. Now and now again. So we're going to see us when we come back or when we connect from the continent. We're going to say it. We're going to sing the song of unity and freedom and liberation. It's our time. There's just no better way. We never had 3. Now we have 5 that are joining. No. What more else do you want? What templates are we looking for? We should just be working with the ones that are already. The others will join us. We don't need all the 54 countries to just begin to do things like Sahel is doing. Already we have a template, we have a model. And let's just be working on the other one. All those that are lazily still waking up, they will join us. They don't have a choice. So good. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, maybe that was a little hard, but yeah, I think at some point, our hands on the table. At some points, we need to wake up and just move and do it without asking too much question or complaining. You know, if the other one is tired, you pull the other one's hands and we move, right? It's not everything that will come on, begin like, oh, please get up now. Oh, please, let us do this. Oh, like, no, you have to tell them. No, who tells you that? You're just whooped out of the bed and you just begin to do things and go, right? Without even asking. So thank you so very much. We're going to see us, okay? You hear from us from these 2 conferences. I think there will be beautiful things to talk about. There will be analysis. There will be facts and data on the table. And I can actually tell you after this week of PIDA and the African Women for Peace, actually what is on the ground so that we can all be on the same spot. So I thank you so very much. Asante sana, mbote, ingeta, good night, miaka. Bye. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 #1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.